Mm. Mic check. All righty, we got the audio correct. Hmm, that looks interesting. All righty. Hopefully, you guys are having a good Saturday, or not good Saturday, a good Sunday. Hopefully, your weekend has been good. We're going to talk about how society is meant to keep you depressed. It's meant to get you and keep you depressed and isolated, which is tied to your loneliness and depression. Today's live stream will be very informative to anybody that wants to listen. This contributes to a lot of the things and problems that we are occurring and dealing with when it comes to relationships and when it comes to just people in general in society. This is a problem that we've created for ourselves. This is a problem that we have created ourselves as humans trying to advance society. And yes, there are a lot of advantages to what we have done in today's culture, but they're also hurting us. Everything has a give and take, a cause and effect, a pro and a con. What is going on, Arian Shatia? Hopefully, I said your name correctly. As you guys come in, please do not hesitate to chat in the chat room. I will converse with all of you guys. That makes the live stream a lot more uh, appeasing for me. I can interact with you guys. But as you guys come in, don't forget to like and comment. Share the live stream if you enjoy the live stream. And if you guys want to support the live stream all the ways you can, or in the description. Modernity has a lot of good things that it does for people. It makes a lot of things more efficient, quicker, and faster for you. You don't have to wait as long. But at the same time, the disguise of efficiency is just making us more and more lonely, avoiding human contact. And so today's live stream will inform you as to why society is meant to isolate us. And this is how we are occurring, and this is how we are getting into the most lonely generation of people that have ever existed on the face of the earth. What is going on, Diego? Hopefully, how are you guys doing in the chat? How are you guys doing today on this Sunday? Hopefully, you guys are doing okay. So, as you guys come in, don't forget to like the video. So, whenever it comes to the dating landscape, it's obvious to see that both men and women are both suffering from the lack of companionship that exists in today's modern culture. Some of it has to do with feminism that's incentivized both women to abstain from relationships and to think that they're overly entitled, excuse me, and think that they're overly entitled so that they think they're better than their man. So they don't need a man because they have their own money, their own careers. So feminism is also causing the divide between men and women. And then the men are looking at it like, hey, I don't want a feminist woman, I want a traditional woman. But he doesn't realize that the feminist and the traditional woman of today's modern traditional culture are both the same. So he's withdrawing from relationships entirely, seeing how women are interacting with men, disrespectful, leaving them and taking all of their money, getting child support. So he's looking at all of this and he's saying to himself, why would I get into a relationship with a woman that thinks and operates like that? Women, their ideology causes them to be single because it teaches them to overwork, to not put relationships and family first until she gets 30 years old. But it teaches her to be promiscuous because it's sexually liberating to sleep with other people, to parade your body online and gyrate yourself on all these kinds of different videos online. And that's fun to her. Going out to girls' nights out, meeting, having sex with the bouncer the same night, getting drunk and blacked out drunk, and getting on the carousel and dating all the athletes in college, having sex with the manager at work to try to get a promotion. All of this is fun to her, but yet she doesn't realize that this is also part of what is devaluing her. And so, for the most part, men and women today are unattracted to each other. And if they are attracted to each other, both of them don't have the capabilities to stay in the long-term relationship. She's taught to always feel happy. If you don't feel happy, you should leave. He's taught, hey, if you want a traditional woman, hey, she's supposed to cook and clean all the time. But yet that's not what these women are taught to do, and it's not what they're really good at. So the divide between men and women just keeps getting further and further and further and further away, making relationships damn near impossible. People still deal with each other, but it's only because they're tired of masturbating and using their dildo. They want to have the sexual interaction, the sexual intercourse with one another. But after that, it's quite shallow. And so the loneliness epidemic that we are seeing when it comes to both men and women, it will affect women much worse because they are the more social creatures. They depend on a social circle for safety. And so, and she depends on a man for her protection. She can't safely protect herself when it's just her. So she needs a man. Even though she will pretend and say online and all these different kinds of videos that she doesn't need a man and that she's accepting being single. Yes, she's able to provide for herself and make her own income, but she still needs that protection. And plus, she doesn't have a true community. Also, men are more wired for the loneliness because we can just get a dog, and that's what people are doing in general. Since loneliness and depression are going up, that means the adoption and the purchasing of pets are going up as well. I see a lot of men and I see a lot of women today that have pets, and that's a coping mechanism for their singleness and loneliness. They're using the pet as an emotional attachment. Women with certain cats, women with certain dogs, men with dogs. All of it is just a coping mechanism to deal with how lonely men and women are today. Some of it is because of the social interactions, the social culture that is prohibited in this culture. But some of it is modernity itself, the technology itself that is making us more lonely than it's ever been. Modern society has successfully killed and destroyed the majority of our social interactions. See, back in the day, previous the phone, previous social media, you had to actually dress up, present yourself in the best way possible, know what to say, know what not to say, put your best foot forward, approach, talk to people, whether it was for an interview, whether it was for a friendship, whether it was for a relationship, you had to put yourself out there. It's quite disgusting to me that in to this modern culture today, that every time you go out to certain places, when you go out to eat, when you go out to the movies, when you go out to even the gym, nobody tries to put on their best self. Oftentimes, when you see people go into restaurants, they put on pajamas, they put on uh, stuff that indicates that they're not trying to meet anybody, not trying to attract anybody, not trying to put their best foot forward. And they're wondering why no one wants to talk to them, wondering why they're so unattractive. What's going on, Parabellum? What's going on? Yeah, oh yeah, we live today. We live today. I told you guys I'm a live stream every Saturday and Sunday, and I meant that. But today we have to talk about an important subject that's affecting the human condition. We are on the trajectory of heading towards Wally. Wally meaning that we are the human beings that will be overweight because we're so lazy and everything, all the machines and robots and the phones can do everything and bring everything to us. So it makes us virtually useless. We'll just be pleasure hedonistic driven individuals, not really needed for anything. This is where we're headed in society. We're getting there slowly. It's quite interesting how these movies they prep us mentally for what's going on and what's coming in the future. Dude, I watched Wally last night. This is crazy. Absolutely, bro. There's no coincidences how you watch Wally and then I mentioned it on today's live stream. Technology has helped, but it will hurt just as much. I was at work the other day and people have gotten so lazy that they don't want to walk anywhere. So literally, if something's 50 yards away, they will literally drive, get in their car and drive the 50 yards and look at whatever they need to look at and then drive back. People have gotten lazy. People have gotten extremely lazy. They don't want to go outside and work out or even walk because the sun's too hot. We are becoming lazy. We are becoming Wally. And this is all a part of our loneliness and depression to keep you inside and keep you isolated, not keeping you from being social. So, modernity today allows you the convenience to avoid human contact, but also makes you lazy in disguise of efficiency. See, instead of social media, you had to actually go out and meet friends and present yourself properly, communicate properly, have the proper body language to signal that you are open to meeting new people and open and know how to read certain social interactions to know when people are liking you and not liking you. The reason why people can't, the reason why cold approach doesn't work today is because people have gotten and forgotten how to socialize and read social cues. They're socially awkward. They don't know when somebody is, men don't know when a woman is open to them or when she's closed off, further hindering him from getting an opportunity and seizing it because he doesn't know the social nonverbal cues to look for. Women don't know how to show the fact that they're attracted to somebody, which hinders them from whenever they see an attractive man somewhere out. They don't know how to give off the signals and the social cues to signal to him that she's interested. And so people are missing opportunities left and right when they do go out. The first, the very few times they do go out, they're missing the social cues, hindering them from relationships. This is why, even though dating apps is probably hurting more than it is helping, you almost have to get on dating apps today because nobody knows how to socially meet anybody in person. But in modernity, they give you dating apps because it's more efficient. It's a lot quicker. It's easier on your brain. It gives you that dopamine hit of all the attractive women that you can swipe and the endless options, even though half of those profiles are fake, even though you still have to go out and meet these people and know how to socialize, even though it is hurting you. Before you had to dress up and make an approach. Now you can just swipe right or left. All you need is some good photos. You're right. I've noticed in the 90s and early 2000s, people would always be in person talking. Didn't change when smartphones came out. Absolutely. I don't know if you've been out recently, but I live in a big city. And every time I go out to different social settings, the club is dead. It's completely dead. And I'm not saying like the club, you can go, there's different ways to meet people, but the last few years I've went out to a club. The club has been non-existent. And then there's lots of different dynamics that are going on when you go to the club. Whenever you see women dancing on each other, that means that they're bisexual. There's at least one lesbian in the group that is having sex with all the women or having sex with one of the women, which is why they're so easily, able to touch each other's butts and twerk on each other and all kinds of stuff and touch each other's titties and all kinds of stuff is because they're bisexual women. And then the men are just left in the corner, socially awkward, don't know how to approach a woman, oftentimes not dressed properly to even get approached themselves by women. Uh, so it's a lot of different dynamics going on. The men are just in the corner, either fighting with each other or just looking at the women dance with each other, and it's a complete shit show. The club is not what it used to be. Yeah, low quality social interactions, exactly. But if you're a person that, but the other thing is, another way we are socially isolated, and it's not just with the phone, it's with this hustle culture as well. You know, it also isolates us. Hustle culture also isolates us. How does it isolate us? You are a loser if you don't have $1 million, a fast car, and a hot chick. So people are on the hamster wheel of always trying to achieve better and make more money. So they're delaying life, they're delaying relationships, they're delaying socializing, they're delaying um, traveling, all these things because I have to get the money first. We always taught, hey, get the money first. And yes, you should always be achieving money, but why not? Why is it so hard? Why can't we get all three? We talk about the 1950s and how that was probably the best generation of people for relationships and all of that, the peak of America. But they socialized, they had money, they did all the things together, they had family, all that stuff together at the same time. They didn't just get the money first and then get the woman. They sometimes they got the woman first and the kids. They figured out how to get the money, and they rose up and stayed together and made it. But yet we're taught to hate, you know, hustle culture, work 12 hours a day. So that fast-paced working life isolates you because by the time you get home from work and by the time you get commuting 2 hours a day to work, you work, you drive an hour to work and drive an hour back from work, staying in traffic. By the time you get off working 10, 12 hours, um, you don't have the energy to socialize. So guess what? Due to the fact that you don't have the proper energy to socialize and you don't want to put in the effort to socialize, you're going to what? Swipe on the app. You're going to post pictures on Instagram, your highlights, to get more DMs or to get more options because you don't have the energy to go out and socialize. You're working too hard. And since you're working so hard, you're not socializing. And if you're not socializing, that means you're more closer to depression and unhappiness because being happy is tied to your social life. Lonely, depression, all of that is tied to how quality of a social life you are living. So people are going to therapy for loneliness, and people are taking drugs for loneliness and alcohol and formalizing all this mental health. All of it is bullshit, guys. All you need to do is just go out and meet some friends and get into a relationship where you guys are a quality relationship with a quality person. Of course, it's going to take time, but all of these loneliness and depression problems would be solved if you had a proper friend group, if you had a proper social group where you guys can trust each other and have properly emotional support. That would solve. You don't need to go to a therapist. You don't need all these different other, depression chemical medicines. All of that is bullshit. They just found a way to monetize, once again, monetize your problems. All of these pills are just placebos. They don't actually work. They don't heal your depression. It's just messed up right now. I feel like I missed a lot of experiences just being able to live life because of money. Making money is crazy. Yes, bro. And like the thing is, like, you have to make money now. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't make money, but another factor that we have to throw into here is, our wages hadn't been keeping up with inflation. So since our wages hadn't been keeping up with inflation, it doesn't we can't afford anything. I mean, the tariffs, it makes our American products more affordable, and I mean, not really affordable, but it makes our competition a lot better, so we can compete in these markets a lot better. But um, once they slapped the tariffs on the $2 pencils that we were buying, and because we couldn't afford the $5 pencils in America, once they're both $5, we can't buy either one because our money isn't been keeping up with inflation. And so it's like we're trapped because you have to work because your money doesn't go near as far, or your buying power doesn't go near as far. But if you work too much, that means your social life is non-existent. And so this also creates more problems for you because why? Whenever you guys are, working so hard and working so much, you're like, you know what? Why I should date somebody at work. And so guess what? You go on the path of dating somebody at work, and then once you realize, once you guys get into one argument, then you realize, damn, I got into an argument, but I still have to see this person at work to get to, to tomorrow. That creates a problem, and then okay, well, if the relationship doesn't work, and she goes to HR and gets you fired, that creates another problem, and then your money can't afford anything, and now you don't have any income coming in because you just got fired because you were dating at the relation at work, but you were only dating at work because you couldn't socialize because you're working so hard in the fast-paced environment of the city. So there's they've kind of trapped us into this mindset. They've kind of set us and put us and trapped us into this mindset. They have us exactly where they want us. And I'm trying to figure out what the bigger plan is. I mean, are they trying to uh, come under one world order where the people of different countries, we're all the same? The average citizen is just the same, but the leadership is just the elite across the world. They're trying to, it has to be something to that, because the way that we live right now in modernity is completely wrong. Um, no community whatsoever. People talk about the Amish. The Amish are the only people that have figured it out successfully. They don't. They depend. They have an actual community, meaning that they don't need to call the cops. Meaning that, they don't need to call another man to solve their problems. They have men of that community that can solve the protection issue, that can solve the emotional support issue, that you can trust, that you can defend, that you love. The women can depend on each other because they know each other. They have different resources. Hey, you need salt? I can go over there to your house and get the salt. Hey, can you watch my children because we're going over to do this? Yes, I watch your children. Their children grow up together. They know each other. They're familiar with the community. They date each other. They marry each other, building it, building up a bigger and bigger community. They figured this shit out a long time ago, but we're left isolated in these cities where they just stack you on top of each other in disguise of a view. But all that means is, okay, you're living on the third floor, you're living on the seventh floor of the hotel. But all that means is, hey, if the kitchen downstairs catches on fire, how are you going to get down 8 stairs in time to survive? You're not going to. They just stack you on top of each other to fill you up. And it's crazy. Yeah, they have to be trying to centralize everybody into one. The flaw with people is that we have violent traits to survive and compete. We can never get along as a whole. That is true. And that's what, at least in the community, at least you could regulate it through different rules. And you guys are familiar with one another. Those are that, or the Franklins over there, those are the Sullivans over there. So you guys can, the men can regulate their households and community a lot better. But in modernity, right now in the cities, you don't know who your neighbors are. You can't depend on your neighbors. Most, if you live in depending on what city you live in, your neighbors are from a different culture than you are. So that's a cultural problem. You don't know each other if you're from different cultures. That isolates you as well, because you're only going to socialize with people that are from your culture. So yeah, that's a truth that nobody wants to talk about. Parabellum. Yeah, that's one of them dark truths about human nature, that we are always trying to survive and compete, and we can never get along with one another. The moment that the reason why everybody is so civil right now is because our needs are getting met. If our needs weren't getting met, we would turn into very violent creatures. Um, Men have figured out that if our basic needs are being met, we can achieve a higher we can think better, and we can achieve more, because our nature is at bay from meeting all of the necessities that we have on daily life. But if our necessities aren't being met, that will cause us to be very violent. That is for sure. And then on top of that, social media makes us ungrateful. How does social media make us ungrateful? You're making good strides in your career. You're achieving a lot. Maybe you've hit the gym recently, and you're looking good, and you look like a Greek god, or you're just losing weight and you're proud of your progress. Well, it's killing your happiness on social media and making you more depressed than ever and making you more isolated and unhappy because you're comparing your highlights, your progress with somebody else's progress that you don't know, that you've never met. This could be AI generated photos, these could be edited photos. But when you scroll on social media and you're like, hey, I'm doing making good progress. Look at the new car I purchased. Whenever you scroll over or when you hit the For You page and you see, Chris Hemsworth or you see Drake in his new Bentley truck, you're like, damn, I feel like a loser now because you're only focused on it. It makes you ungrateful of what you don't have. You made a lot of good progress, but it's all negated now because you are comparing yourself to an individual that you do not know. That truck could have been rented, but the car you own, you probably own it, which is an achievement in itself. But no, it makes you unhappy because you're comparing yourself with everybody. This is why women they struggle with this modernity problem. This is why the unhappiness and the depression, the singleness, it hits them the worst because they're constantly comparing themselves. They have an internal insecurity within themselves. They're always looking for outside validation. So, of course, she's going to always be unhappy because she's always comparing herself to the outside world. And social media just made it worse. She's always insecure, which is why she pats her. She looks in the mirror and pats her makeup, and that's the reason why she makes makeup and wears makeup in the first place because she doesn't like her natural, imperfect blemishes on her skin. She's always looking at her outfit, comparing her outfit to other women, comparing herself in body shape to other women. So if she has social media, she's probably not the most proud. Most women are unhappy with themselves. All of these reasons. And so, yeah, comparison is the thief of all joy. Yet in today's society, that's all we do is compare each other. We compare everything. And that's also a problem why relationships don't work. Because that's the problem with women whenever they're promiscuous. They've had too many flavors. So she knows what the guy that has good sex, she knows what his Johnson looks like and she knows how he strokes it. She's met a guy with good money, been inside of his car, driven to his house, and seen all this crazy, his immaculate home. She's dated different successful men and or even just bad boys. She's been, had these all these different experiences with drugs and alcohol. And so when she meets a regular person, she's comparing you to all of the different men that she has. And she's comparing you to all the good things that she's experienced, all the bad things she's experiencing. And so depending on what she values more, that will keep her single because if she wants just a guy that that's tall and knows how to good sex, have good sex, but you're a shorter guy that makes good money, she she thinks she can make her second option work, but her first option is the tall guy that knows how to have sex. So yeah, even though she'll pretend to act like she wants the guy with the simp with the money, she'll cheat on him because she's always these experiences give women these experiences to compare and contrast. And so this is why women will miss these certain experiences and be like, "Hey, I miss the streets." It's because she missed getting banged out by these gargantuan size men with Johnsons. So that's really what all this is. She's comparing herself And then this is when other women, the innocent women, get intoxicated with their bad friends. It's because she's with her man and everything's going fine. But when she's talking to her single friends, and her single friends are saying, hey, I got this guy made me orgasm last night, or I went on this expensive trip last night. I got flown out to LA. That makes the good woman more envious and jealous because she's comparing you to what the experiences of her single friends are. But what she doesn't realize is the reason why her single friends are single is because they're getting pumped and dumped and all this stuff, which is why she breaks up the relationship from the good guy she's with. She goes out trying to seek these different experiences, and then she tries to hit back the other guy she left, but he doesn't want her anymore because she's been ran through now. All of these problems that women create are from their comparison and contrasting their situations. And so this loneliness, this comparison and contrasting different things, this is going to harm women much worse because of their insecurities. Let's see. I see it everywhere. My question is, can we do something about it? Whether it's small changes or something drastic, it's depressing and the future is bleak. That's a good question. People are trying to fix it recently. Recently, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there were a few different a few different clubs that were paying. They've gotten so desperate to incentivize young people to go to these clubs that they started paying men to go to these certain clubs on ladies' nights to try to engage and get the nightlife going again. You guys give me a second. My throat is dry. And so I mean, they are trying, but you have to realize that what makes Gen Z so unique from all the other generations is the fact that we were raised with the phone. So we don't know anything else outside of the phone. See, Gen X, the boomers didn't really, they got their phones late in adulthood. Gen X got their phones in adulthood. Uh, Millennials got their phones in, kind of like in their adolescent years, their high school years. Gen Z, we were born with the phone, having iPads and stuff at 5 years old. So this Gen Z is really a social experiment of where we are going in the future. Friendship in this generation means something entirely different. Relationships in this generation means something entirely different with the advent of modernity and the advent of the technology. So when it comes to solutions, how do you okay, if the phone is the problem, how do you get rid of the phone when people have depended on the phone for so much, for so long? That's a problem. That's a problem I don't know if you can really truly fix. I mean, we can incentivize people, I guess, through money and I guess through sex, I guess, I don't know, to socialize better, to socialize more, but that's a hard question to answer. Yeah, yeah. We need to go back to having community and having, going back to the countryside. But if you ever met a city girl she ain't going to the boonies, um, especially the city guys who were raised in the city, born and raised in the city. They're not going back. They're not going back to that old, the countryside either. But the countryside is so much peaceful. Nature is so much peaceful. There were studies where patients heal a lot faster if they have a view of nature. And so, and so, yeah, We're designed to be outdoors in nature, hiking, uh, socializing, like being in touch with the animals. Like that is a real thing, and we're getting further and further away from that, further and further away from that. And it, let me see, because we have to realize that the phone, yes, it is isolating us, but it also makes things very efficient. It makes communication efficient. It makes, grocery shopping, what you need to search for, very efficient as well. So it's really a 50-50 down the pike of how of all the good things and all the bad things it's causing as well. So to get people to disincentivize them to throw all of that away, that's going to be a hard sell. It's kind of like with the government. Once you give certain rights, or once you allow certain things, you can't take those rights back. Um, and so, I mean, I tell you what, if they EMP this place, if they EMP society, that would force people to work together and form communities and form tribes of society, and Armageddon happen. I think in order, if you want people to truly incentivize to do the right thing, and I think a major event's going to have to happen in order to make people work together and see that we're not, all that different. Pain makes people collaborate. So maybe a natural disaster, maybe a depression, maybe something like that will cause us to form more communities and care for one another, because there's no choice at that point. You guys are going to have to depend on one another at that point. Yeah. Dude, city girls are a waste of time, bro. This is just my estimation. I could be way off. You guys let me know in the chat if I'm way off. If you guys are watching this on the replay, you guys comment if I'm way off. If you made it this far in the stream on replay, I don't. I think most women in the cities do not qualify and do not make good mates. That's my harsh, critical, radical take for this Sunday's live stream. Is I don't think city girls in general make good mates. They're too caught up. They're City girls are very materialistic. And so if you're not showing or flaunting any materialism, meaning that you're not wearing Gucci, or you don't have an Audi or a BMW to drive in, if you're not living in a luxurious uh, lifestyle, or have a luxurious home, um, they really don't see you. If you guys go certain places downtown in your city, you'll notice, and if you're just a regular average man, you'll notice that city girls that are higher class, or those city girls that are seeking, these successful men, it's like you're invisible. It's like you're invisible. It's like they don't even register your existence. And there was a studies about this. There was a study about this where women actually don't. If you are unattractive, they actually see you as an invisible man, because it doesn't even register for their arousal in their brain. But city girls are extremely materialistic, extremely unloyal, because they can jump from one man to another man, because there's so many different people that have so many different options in close proximity, through dating apps and stuff. So it's easy for them to cheat a lot faster, and it's easy for them to monkey branch to one successful dude to another successful dude. And so there's no incentive for them to be loyal in a relationship. the materialistic and unloyal, always comparing yourself, you to other men, which is making her unhappy, comparing her to different women that are in success, comparing herself to other women that are in successful relationships with other men, comparing what they do. Hey, they went on this vacation to Colorado. We should go to this Colorado vacation as well. We should be going across seas twice a year, just like they're going across seas twice a year. And so these city girls, the way they're conditioned is not conducive for relationships at all. And then they're promiscuous as hell. Um, Find an independent woman. It depends on what you think about it, what you define by independent woman. You mean like a woman that's not needy, or you mean like an independent woman that has her own career or whatnot, or it depends on what you mean. Me personally, I need a woman that's independent in the fact of that, like she's not needy. She doesn't need to be all up under me 24/7. Like I can not reply to her text for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, and she'll not think that I'm cheating on her or whatnot. Like I need that. I'm an introvert. I need that distance or away from you. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can see where you're coming from. Yeah, that's a good thing as well. And you know, another thing that's causing relationships to have problems. This feminism thing, the strong and independent thing, has really caused a lot of problems. And so, since women and all this DEI and all that stuff has really helped them get better careers than even men, that's hurting their dating options even more because since especially younger women, they're making more money than younger men, so which is decreasing their pool of men to choose from, and it's just terrible for young men because this is all of this is just feminism and the government trying to tax both men and women to make more money. Um, but it leaves the average man out to dry because the woman that you want probably has a better career than you do. Yeah, and there's definitely more gold diggers in the city. That is for sure. That is for sure. So, yep, I just kind of wanted to come in and vent today on this live stream, give you guys some serious insights, some serious game as to what's going on in society. I appreciate you, Parabellum, rocking out with me today. And before we end this live stream, I'm gonna give you where you at, Parabellum. I'm gonna add you as a moderator to the channel because I appreciate you rocking out with me today, Parabellum. You've been on the live streams a lot recently with me, so I appreciate it. Gotta reward you with something, man. We can't just, your loyalty has to be rewarded. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys watching on the replay. I appreciate everybody that came into the stream. I will catch you guys if I have time this week to live stream during the week. I will. It just will be sporadic. So I'll be posting my regular, YouTube shorts and my regular short form videos at regular times and all of that. But if I live stream, it's going to be a random day, Monday through Thursday, probably. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be helpful for you guys to turn notifications on, even though depending on the channel and depending on what it is, sometimes YouTube doesn't notify people. I don't know what that is about. I guess YouTube is trying to censor certain stuff. I have seen that. So, but nonetheless, I appreciate you guys. You guys have a good rest of your weekend. I will see you guys next weekend for the live streams for sure. If you don't see me during the week, And then, of course, I'll be posting my regular videos as well. You guys have a good day, good weekend. See you guys on the next one, man. Peace.